Intelligence Speakers Club. Now I request you to switch off your phones, and there's a evaluation sheet in front of you with some pens as well, identify naming pens. So please provide your evaluations, use that to evaluate. And now I'd like to welcome our President, Sheila, to this meeting.
Good afternoon, intelligent Toastmaster members. I'm looking to see if we have a couple guests. So traditionally, whenever we have a guest, we ask them to stand up and introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about why they're here today. Would you like to begin?
Hi, my name is Avinash. I'm here because Nigel invited me. I work for the mobile team. I sit in the salon.
Thank you. And we have a second guest. Would he like to stand up and introduce himself?
You are the guest.
You're not a guest?
This is second time.
Okay.
Still you are.
It's okay.
As long as you're a guest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Shankar Ranteru. I'm from online store team. So I joined Toastmasters I think last week because my friend Nagesh referred here. So my focus is to improve the soft skills, presentation skills. So that's why I'm coming to Toastmasters here.
Came to the right place. Welcome. So just to clarify, is Shankar a member, you were saying?
He used to be,
He used to be.
last time I didn't renew it.
Okay.
So he's to consider.
Okay, yes. So welcome guests and fellow members. So as you can see, before I kick off the meeting to introduce the Toastmaster, we have our desk podium that came in, and we have our official banner that every club owns, and as you can see, it's specific to us, intelligent speakers. All 3 clubs on site now have one, so this basically is an identifying feature for us, and as we win district awards or ribbons, they can be added up here, and you'll see them at different clubs. Wherever you go, you'll see each club has one of these, so I'm very excited. To kick off today's meeting, theme is Now That Spring is Coming, What Are You Looking Forward to? Our Toastmaster today, I'm sure has very interesting thoughts to share upon this. I'd like to introduce him, Richard Snyderman.
Thank you. Wow, it feels like I haven't been here for a while. I was on PTO last week, and it's just not the same. It's something to look forward to in the middle of the meeting, so it's great to be here. When I left last a week and a half ago, it was go to Florida to visit my sister, and it was it was on Sunday of daylight savings time, and that's sort of what inspired me to be thinking about this. Plus, I went to Florida where it's really warm. So what I'm looking forward to is a number of things. Play golf, which I suck at, but still like to play because it forces me to walk. I like that. I'm a big movie buff, and as the last meeting I was at, we were talking about what it was if you were because you're not if you're growing up. Anyway, basically I said that I'm still 12 years old, and it's true, which is why one of the things I'm looking for is the Avenger movie that's coming out in 5 weeks. And finally, I'm looking forward to barbecuing. Not that because of where we live we can't barbecue year-round, but you do it more as things get warmer. So, with that in mind, those are some of the things that I'm looking for. I'd like to introduce to you our general evaluator, Anjana Bachu, to come up and tell us what she's going to do for this meeting.
Today I am the general evaluator for this meeting. My role is to evaluate the meeting from start to finish and see any areas of improvement and also give my feedback at the end of the meeting. I have 3 helpers today. My accountant will be Ali, and he'll stand up from where he is and let us know what he'll be doing today.
As an all-counter, I'll note words and sounds used as a crotch or pause filler by anyone who speaks today. Inappropriate interjections like you know, as, like, so, but, will be noted by me. Also, pause filler and pause, like filler sounds. For example, I'll try to note them as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Today our grammarian is Kelly Tang. He will also give us the word of the day. Could you please tell your role?
As a grammarian, I will provide the word of the day, and today's word of the day is placacious. It means to eagerly please, or please and inclined to please. So an example would be our Toastmaster leaders in this club are placacious people. The other part of my job today will be looking into, listening to your speeches and also identifying grammatical mistakes so we can also improve on them. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Our timer for today is Sridhar Dhawala. Could you please tell us about your role?
Today my role is that of a timer, and I'll be measuring what time you're taking the speeches, and depending on that, I'll be showing either a green, yellow, or red card. Green when the speech is right on time, and yellow it's slightly exceeding, and red it's exceeds over the limit. And at the end of the speeches, I'll be giving the report to the column.
I'm looking forward to a very licentious meeting today. With that, I'll call back our Toastmaster.
Now, I forgot to mention that John is looking forward to a number of things this summer. She's looking forward to spending time with her family and long, bright days to bring positivity and energy. So I think that's great. I started looking forward to things that come with it being warmer. One of the things I came across was that how it can improve your memory, believe it or not, the fact that we're moving into a warmer time. Research has shown that overall alertness and mental performance is at its best when your body temperature is high. Staying warm in nice weather helps keep you alert and improves your memory. Now, with that in mind, we're going to have our first speech, which is Aishwarya Rajamani, and her speech is YOLO, you only live once. It's her icebreaker. Let's give a warm welcome for
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Aishwarya Rajamani. Here is a little bit of introduction about myself. I'm a Sagittarian. Just like any other typical Sagittarian, I'm always ready to travel. In the past 12 months, I've been to Yosemite thrice, Vegas twice, Portland, Dallas, India. There was a lot of traveling within India, and just recently to Australia to watch the Cricket World Cup. McAfee must be lucky to have me as an employee. I have a little sister who's doing her master's in San Jose State University. My parents were very hardworking, always striving to get the best for their children. I was raised in Chennai, which is in South India. I was a happy kid. I had a lot of friends. My childhood was normal. I learned how to play the violin for a couple of years. Life went on, and then it was time to decide what I was going to do in life. I badly wanted to study chemical engineering, but the word chemical absolutely scared my entire family. They thought it would reduce my lifespan. So I ended up getting my degree in electrical and electronics engineering. It really doesn't matter what your degree is in. Just like everyone else in India, I ended up working for a software company. Within a month, I realized I wanted to do my master's. I got admits from few universities here in the States, and I decided to go to Sam Walton School of Business in Arkansas. Do any of you know who Sam Walton is?
Walmart.
He's the founder of Walmart. So this is the first time I've been away from family, and Arkansas is the place I choose to experiment. I hope I don't have anyone from Arkansas in this room. Otherwise, you're going to be offended. Anyway, I land in Arkansas, picturing New York City skyline. And what do I see when I step out of the airport? Tractors. I interned for the Hershey's company while I was getting my master's. Yes, I did get a lot of free chocolates and candies, although I was not particularly fond of Hershey's chocolates. The work culture in the States was something quite new to me. I was very used to the micromanagement culture in India. So for the first 1 week, every time I came in, I would go to my manager and let him know I was here, and before I left work, I would tell him I'm leaving for the day. He would always have this confused look on his face. I guess I was trying to be facetious. By the end of 1 week, he asked me to take it easy, and I felt very silly and embarrassed. And I think that is when I really started liking the work culture here in the States. I can never forget the weather in Arkansas. It was very hot and humid in summer. I've been in the vicinity of about 3 tornado touchdowns. I've had a couple of falls because of the icy road in winter. My favorite part is that my university would shut down if there was just 1 inch of snow. Why just the university? I would say the entire state would shut down if there was just 1 inch of snow. They wouldn't know what to do. I bought my first car when I was in Arkansas. I learned how to drive in a Walmart parking lot, in spite of which I failed the driver's test thrice. So I decided to drive without a valid driver's license until I ended up passing the license exam. I graduated in December 2008. By the end of 2008, I was a more confident and independent person. I hope most of you remember what 2008 was like here in this country. It was the Great Recession, just like the Great Depression. It officially lasted from December 2007 until June 2009. The recession started with the bursting of a $8 trillion housing bubble. The US labor market had to cut back 8 trillion jobs just in the year 2008 and 2009. Absolutely a bad time to graduate, right? But I was able to find a job with Intel Folsom. I began my career during the Great Recession. The hiring manager at Intel asked me if I knew where Folsom is. I frantically Googled Folsom and I found out it was near Sacramento. He asked me if I would be willing to move. Who wouldn't want to move from Arkansas to Folsom? I immediately said yes. And this time I was picturing San Francisco skyline. And what do I see when I land in Folsom? A completely dead city. Folsom is a great place if all you want to do is work for Intel and raise kids. It was definitely not a place for a recent college grad. The most happening place in Folsom is the Costco. That's where you will find the entire city's population. 3 years later, I started dating my husband, who was at that time in the Bay Area, and I made the brave move from Sacramento to San Jose. And I started working for Intel Santa Clara down the road. My husband and I are polar opposites. We drive each other crazy, in spite of which we've managed to stay sane for almost 2 years now. I've made many friends who are more like family to me. Life has been good so far. One of the biggest life lessons that I've learned from my husband is to stay cheerful in spite of whatever situation I find myself in. Otherwise, I would not have any funny experiences or stories to share with the rest of you. Stay cheerful. You live only once. Thank you.
Let's take a few minutes to write up comments about Ashwarya. Now, Ashwarya said she's looking forward to longer days and big outdoors, so. Okay, so moving on. Did you know that it's safer in warmer weather? Studies have shown that death rates are higher in cold climates. People who have easy access to heat and good housing may not be affected, but those who are struggling for winter and cold weather could be a killer. Our next speaker is David Chu, and he's looking forward to warmer weather, which should give him lower energy bills now that we don't have to use the heater. I think that's a wonderful idea. He's also looking for outdoor activities like hiking and spending time with his son. Let's please welcome David, who's going to talk about what it means to be family. This is his speech number 3. David.
Thank you, Rich. The year is 2014. It's the night before the birth of my son. At this point, my wife has been in labor for over 30 hours, so it's pretty crucial that we get my son out as soon as possible. And at this point, I was thinking to myself, it's probably just going to be my wife and I kind of taking this last part of her pregnancy. But I'd be wrong to assume that. At around 10 o'clock, 3 people from my wife's family showed up. It was her sister, her sister-in-law, and her niece. I remember clearly, they walked in. It was as if the A-team showed up, here to solve our problem. And I remember feeling excited, thankful, and mostly I was moved by what I was seeing. These people had just gotten off work, actually, and instead of going home to go to bed or do something else, they decided to show up and support us. And I was very thankful for that. With their help and support, my son was out a few hours later. In the wee early morning hours, they kind of just greeted us goodbye and went about their day. Most of them had work and school the next day, and I just couldn't believe it. So at that point, that's what family meant to me. But it wasn't always positive or so cheery. Throughout my life, it kind of changed, the definition of family. So allow me to share that with everyone. I was born and raised in Taiwan. Both my parents worked full-time, so I spent the bulk of my time with my aunt and my uncle. And to be more clear, this is my dad's brother and his wife. So outside of school, they would pick me up, they would make sure I was fed, and they would make sure I do my homework. And one time, coming home from school, I remember I was racing my cousin to the 3rd floor where my uncle lived. So we were running along, laughing, giggling, chasing after another. And all of a sudden, I tripped and fell. Hit the side of my face pretty hard. And immediately I started to cry like no tomorrow. At the same time, I was bleeding. The next thing I remember, I was on a motorcycle. My uncle was speeding away, riding as fast as he could to the hospital. At the same time, my aunt was holding me close to her, also putting pressure on my wound. I was still crying. It was probably the longest I ever cried, now I think about it. And we eventually got to the hospital, I got stitched up, life went on. If you couldn't tell, my uncle and my aunt, they're kind of like my second set of parents outside my biological ones. They always treated me as one of their own and took care of me. And I have to say, I'm very thankful for what they've done to me in raising me as a kid. Fast forward a few years later, I'm now here with my family in the United States, where the bulk of my mom's family resided. Here, things are a little bit different. I remember my aunt and my uncle, from time to time, they would tease me. And this is what they would say. They would say, if you just change your last name to ours, it would be so great. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing, even if it was a half joking, that the way they were approaching the situation. I still thought it was inappropriate. I always thought, wow, is this really happening? You gotta be kidding me. And there was one particular instance where I was at my uncle's house, and he had just purchased his brand spanking new computer, and I was admiring it. I remember telling him, wow, this is so great. It's so awesome. I wish I had one of these. And this is what he said to me. He said, you know what, David? That new electronic keyboard that you guys bought, I'll trade you for that. How's that? And again, as ridiculous as it sounded, that's what happened. And there will be many more instances of this happening throughout. And the funny part was, had it been anybody else, like my cousins on my mom's side, it would have been just given to them, no problems, no questions asked. So during that state, I felt pretty negative about family. It wasn't so rosy. But the good news is, it didn't stay that way. As I alluded to in the beginning of the speech, I'm now more involved with my in-laws, my wife's side of the family. And things, for the most part, are pretty good. But they're not perfect, of course, right? Let's be honest here. Huge family, most of the time equals major drama. But if you ask me today, what I prefer, I would definitely say that I would rather have some family and manage the relationship through there than not to have any at all. Thank you.
Well, let's take a few minutes and write some comments for David's speech. Now it's time for one of my favorite parts of our meeting. It's time for table topics. Our table topic master today is Karishma Damani, and she's looking forward to a lot of things. For a real estate side, she's looking forward to buying a new house, and from an athletic side, she's looking forward to running some more races, and from a family side, she's looking forward to spending time with her 15-year-old nephew and who's visiting from India. So let's give a warm welcome to Karishma for.
Toastmaster, Madam President, guests, and my fellow Toastmasters. The tech topics are designed specifically to develop 4 communication skills: listening, thinking, organizing, and speaking. You will be asked to deliver an impromptu speech as a part of the table topics. So today's table topic theme is storytelling. We'll have a different format compared to all the other sessions. I will call upon 7 participants here at the same time. The first participant will start telling a story. Within the time frame will be 1 to 2 minutes as any table topic. The second participant will build on the first participant's story. If at any point any participant do not want to build on the previous participant's story, you can start your own story, and the following members or the following participants will build on your story or start their own story. So can we start? I'll call upon 7 people. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Rashmi.
Rashmi. Joe. Is it Joe?
Tom.
Tom.
You want us all up there right now?
Yes, all of them.
She's tough.
This is going to be fun. It's a little different. Nagesh. So number 1, 2, 3. Shankar, our guest. I forgot your name, I'm sorry.
Joe.
Joe?
Mr. Camara is also.
Oh, he is, okay.
No, I'm not
he's
married.
Okay. Joe?
That was last time I think.
Oh, sorry.
Avinash? What is his name?
Parag.
Parag. Don't hate me.
You over there.
You can start with any story. It could be any topic. And Tom will build on that story. Can I request Tom to start?
No.
I have a story and I'll surely follow on it. It could be any topic.
Any topic.
Yes.
We'll build on today's subject. We'll start with mountain biking. I like to go out, especially as the weather gets warmer and more daylight, to go mountain biking. I live in Rio Del Mar, which is over the hill, they say, and I am only 10 minutes bike ride from the mountains, a place called Nizing Marks. It's a state park, and we can ride for hundreds of miles. I typically will ride 30 miles up about 1,700 feet and back down to my house. Can I sit down now?
Oh, wow, that would be an excellent start to a spring mountain riding. Well, mountain riding, I don't think it's my cup of tea. Now, I go for biking, and just a few weeks back, we all friends who were planning to go on biking along the shoreline. So my activity for the spring, or the planned activity, would be doing biking on shoreline.
I'm not personally interested in biking. So I would like to go for hiking, which I tried to go to. Mission Peak. I tried to reach the Mission Peak point finally. Before I started, I saw two instances. One is one lady, she's a bicycle cycling. In the hill area, she's cycling. She's very good at it. The other instance is one lady, she is running towards the mission. She is not walking, she is almost running. I was scared, I cannot able to reach the point. Then I saw these two instances. I get ashamed, then I start walking, finally taking many stops. So I reached the top, finally I took the photographs. That was a good thing I did last year. Regarding this traveling, until one experience when I was in India. So my hometown is little bit 150 kilometers far from Hyderabad. You know people, Hyderabad is the metro state in India. So in weekend what we used to do is we have gang of 5 people. So we used to travel from my hometown to Hyderabad and Hyderabad to hometown, like bike riding. So while going on the way, almost 4 hours journey. So that is a very nice experience. On the way, we used to stop there and we used to have nice food. Like in India, dhaba food is a type. There is a flavor. Dhaba food is the outside. It's a very nice flavor food. So we used to have, sometimes we used to have drinks with the friends and then try again the biking. So the long drive from that 4 hours is my good experience. So we should have food and.
So I felt a little woozy from the bike ride from Mission Peak to Hyderabad, India. but it was very nice arriving there and having some really nice food. I'd never been to India before, so it's always a good experience to have all this nice food. So I decided to just start biking to the next place. I don't even know Indian geography. Okay, this guy's sounds ridiculous. I decided to try heading towards Chennai. I don't even know how long it is from Hyderabad. So somebody comes by, asks for directions, and somebody asks me, "Are you crazy? Here's a map." And all of a sudden, out from nowhere, I hear, "What's that?"
I like biking actually, but never bike any places. Not like the what you mean the what is it? Like the actual biking, but I like the motorcycling. Because in India, biking is known as motorcycling. So in India, I used to do a lot of biking around and visit a lot of places in India. The thing I liked about biking is the amount of freedom you get to maneuver wherever you want to go. The way you lean a curve. For example, you're leaning a curve and you can actually feel the adrenaline rushing into you, and you are going to see what you're not going to see ahead of you. So that took me to a lot of places. One interesting place that took me was the Himalayas. So Himalayas, I went to the highest motorable road in the world. That's called Khatungla, and that's also a different experience in itself. And that path actually we went to Delhi. That's the capital of India. And then the Khatungla is very close to the border of China, Pakistan, and India. So it's about 5-day drive from Delhi, the capital, to. I definitely recommend if you guys want to do biking, you want to go to that stuff. Yeah, and here I was not able to get a chance to do biking because first of all you need to get a license, motorcycle license, and it's not as easy to get here. So hopefully I will do some biking this year if I get a license.
So I'm going to continue from Joe's story. So what's that? Okay, that's a plane. I've never seen a plane before. I've only been biking all over India. So, so then I read up all about planes. True story. When I first came here to the US way back, smoking was actually allowed on planes. Okay, and so that shows me how old I am actually. So right in the middle of the Pacific, on the way from I think it was Seoul to San Francisco, there was a fire alarm started ringing in the toilet. Right? And the pilot came out, and it was a bit of chaos. There was some amount of smoke. Someone was actually smoking in the toilet, and I was wondering, okay, my first plane ride, you're just gonna crash right in the middle of the Pacific. Right? So luckily that emergency was resolved. I landed in San Francisco safely. I became a big fan of airplanes. Whenever I go to Seattle, I visit the Boeing factory to see how planes are made. I'm like an airplane geek. So, and finally, that's how I'm here. Thank you.
I will now return the control to Toastmasters. Oh, yes. Can you please take a vote on the speakers? So Tom spoke on mountain biking, Roshni on biking, Nagesh on hiking, Shankar on traveling, Joe on traveling to Chennai, Avinash on motorcycle, and Farad on plane. May I now return the control to Toastmasters?
Thank you. Nice job.
That's definitely a different way to do our table topics, but definitely interesting. Well, we progressed through the main speeches part of our meeting. Let's bring up Anjana, our general evaluator, to lead us through the last part of the meeting. Anjana?
Great table topic session, Karishma. Thank you for the change. Now moving on to the evaluation portion of our meeting, I would like to call upon Sheila to evaluate.
It'll be so.
Okay, I would like to call Saira Sunil for evaluating Aishwarya's icebreaker speech.
It was just an awesome speech. I thoroughly enjoyed the speech. Aishwarya, congratulations on making your first icebreaker speech. When Aishwarya mentioned she was giving her first icebreaker speech and she told me she was so nervous about it, I didn't expect to listen to such an awesome speech. I didn't see any nervousness in you. I saw a very confident speaker on the stage. You jumped right away into your life story, I would say. You gave a complete picture of how you started from where you remember your life, all through your studies, your first job, when you came to US. So it was a very clear picture. All of us now, I am sure, have a very good picture of your life story. The things that I really enjoyed about your speech was you included some bit of humor, and I found it very, very interesting. It kept the audience very engaged. You also threw in certain kind of, information in between your speech, like who is the founder of Walmart, which I didn't know. So, and you included certain points in there, which gave the speech a little bit of more life, I would say. You had good eye contact with the audience. You never used your notes for an icebreaker speech. That was very good. Then the one suggestion which I had to really look for in your speech, I would say, is when you opened your speech, I thought it was very abrupt. So if you could, you just started speaking right into saying that you were a Sagittarian and you love travel, my suggestion would be probably you can, start a little more slower with a better opening, maybe. And another minor suggestion would be your speech title was You Live Only Once. I thought maybe you would say something very significant, some very significant incidents in your life, or something which would really, make an impact on why, you should enjoy life because it's only once. Other than that, for which I had to really think, I thought you gave a very, very awesome speech. I enjoyed it, and I could see all of us in the audience were glued onto your speech. It was an excellent start. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. It was a detailed evaluation. Our second evaluator is Sheila. She'll be evaluating David on his third speech.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially David. David was working on his third project here in this book, and it is entitled Getting to the Point. So the goal of this speech was to prepare a speech that had a clear general purpose, to inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire, and to basically project sincerity and conviction and strive not to use notes or be too nervous. So to begin with, I want to say that you have such a placentious presence and posture. I know you asked me to look specifically at your posture, and being someone who's tall, I thought you were great up here. You have such a great presence, and I know you've been told this before, it's almost presidential in a way because you are tall, your voice, and just how you carry yourself. You do sound a little bit like Barack Obama. And so
Yes,
I
we
feel
can.
that you really did, you were comfortable, and you made us comfortable because you own this space really well with your hand gestures and your presence. So very good job there. In terms of your actual speech about what it means to be family, I know we spoke a little bit on it. I love the opening, and I would have liked to have seen you give it a little more impact because it is such an important time in your life. You use certain words that I think took away from the impactfulness of it. You said, my son was out, when probably if you would have said, my son was born, my son was finally born. people would be able to relate to that a little better because you're talking about family. So don't be afraid to use terms like that would really make an impact as a new father. One thing I was looking for, and I could see based on the timing, is that you were already wrapping up your speech just as you hit the green card. So that told me you actually have more time still to develop another point, and I was actually looking for it. So you started with your son's birth, then you spoke about your childhood and an incident, and then you spoke about your present relationship with your aunt and uncle. I would have loved to see you make a third point, because many speeches do have 3 points to them. The audience will look for it. And the third point being maybe talk about starting your own family and what that was like, because you alluded to it in the beginning, and that would have been a really nice way to wrap up. So I see this speech as something in progress, and that you could potentially give it again in some other setting. So just think about that. Lastly, I love the fact that as one of the goals here, the speaker was asked to use minimal notes and appear confident. You used no notes, you seemed supremely confident, and you shared personal stories. And I think that's really hard for some people, sharing personal stories like that. And you did a wonderful job, so thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sheila, for the evaluation. I think it gave tips to many of us on how we can improve our speech. Now moving on to the reports for today, I would like to first start with our timer. Sridhar, could you please give us the time for the speech, evaluation and taking topics?
Today, Aishwarya, you took 5 minutes 24 seconds for your icebreaker. David, it's 5 minutes 7 seconds. Rashmi, it's 21 seconds in the table topics. Tom, 29 seconds. Nagesh, 48 seconds. Shankar, 1 minute. Joe, 41 seconds. Avinash, 1 minute 51 seconds. And Parag, 1 minute 7 seconds. And the evaluations, Saira, you took 2 minutes 27 seconds. And Sheila, you took a little bit over time, 3 minutes 12 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Next, I would like to call Ali for the R counter report.
Thank you, Anjana. I think it was great performance by everyone, especially our speakers. Ashwa Rai, you only had 1 so, 1 and 1 pause, which I found to be very good. You had a little bit over 7 minutes of a speech, so for that I think it's pretty good. David, very impressive. You only had 1 so. I thought that's very good. For our table topic speakers, Tom, you had 1 1 so. Rashmi, you had 2 ahs, 1 so. Nagesh, you had 2 ahs and 1 pause. Shankar, you had 3 ahs. Joe, you only had 1 ah. Avinash, you had 4 ahs. Parag, you had 8 ahs and 3 so's. Anjana, you only had 1 ah. Sheila had 3 ahs. And Saira, you had 3 filler words, and 1 ah.
Awesome. Thank you. Next will be a report from our Ghanaian, Kelly.
So we had 2 people using the word of the day. That's Sheila and Anja. Thank you for using the word. For the rest of the grammarian, for 2 speakers, I didn't find any grammar mistakes from Ashwina. And for David, just like Sheila, I did find, my son was out. I think you could use born instead. You also said where the bulk of my mom's family is here. When you're describing your mom's, when you moved over here, you could say like where the majority of my family is here. But other than that, great speech. I didn't really find too much of grammarian errors. For table topics, that was hard. That was hard because it was really interesting of the format, and I was trying to listen and jot down notes. So Shankar, I think what you said was in the weekend, what we used to do is do there to bike. I think you should say in the weekend we used to go biking rather than in the weekend what we used to do. Was that on rush? Is that? That was the last one. Avinash? Oh, okay. He said what interesting place biking took me. No, he said what interesting place it took me was to Himalayas. You could say like, one interesting place where I biked to was to the Himalayas. And Parag, I think when the first time I come to US way back, smoking was allowed. When you're describing smoking in the plane, you could have said maybe back then when smoking was allowed, that's when I came to America. So just a little change in the words. So that's about it.
Thank you, Kelly. I would like to add that Aishwarya also used the word of the day.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. Okay, coming to the overall report for today's meeting. Great speeches. I really like when somebody comes up and does their icebreaker speech. It's really encouraging for other members to also do their icebreaker if they've not done yet. Otherwise, our meeting went on really well. We, in fact, finishing early. Maybe that will give us time to maybe talk about some of the president's, to give more time for the president to talk today. One suggestion I would like to say is for the timer, it's easier if you sit in the front so that they can actually look at you, it's visible. Also, if you could show the time as long as they're speaking, maybe they're not noticing, but keep it as long as you get the speaker's attention. That will kind of help them. I saw a couple of times you were showing, but they didn't actually notice. I also like the table topics today that we had. It was a different style of doing it. However, I think we are all still learning. We don't do the 1 to 2 minutes talk. We should all learn and try to remember and speak a little more than we can and hit that 1 minute target at least. Otherwise, everything went on really well. I really like the theme and the way it's conducted. Great evaluations. And thank you all for being here. I would like to call our Toastmaster back.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Well, with that, I mean, it's been a great meeting. Let's turn it back over to our president to get some more comments from our president. Thank you.
Thank you all for a great meeting and making this happen. I wanted to go ahead around the room and ask the guests what they thought of today's meeting.
Oh, wait. We missed something.
Yes.
Table topics.
Table topics. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, let's call up our Table Topics master to announce today's winner.
Today's winner is Joe.
Thank you both. So before I go on to any announcements, I wanted both of our guests to stand up and share a little bit about what they thought of today's meeting. Avinash, do you want to start?
It was really interesting. I really liked. I hope if I get time and my schedule, I will definitely like to join. And also great to know about all your personal stories, David, Sue, Aishwarya. And suddenly I was called to speak. The table topics I had no idea what to say. Thanks for counting the hours.
You're very welcome. Shankar, did you want to share?
It was a good experience. So I'm observing all the speakers, how they are speaking. So that way I can myself compare and I can improve my skills, presentation skills. So I'll try to continue with every week. If I have work also, I'll try to come and I'll try to learn more things here.
Wonderful, thank you. Just so you know, you're welcome to come back as many times as you like as a guest, but I'll keep telling you guys to stand up and present yourselves until you become a member. But you're very welcome to come back.
Sure.
So we have a little bit of time, and I just wanted to remember or let everybody know that the area level competition for our area is Tuesday evening, And our very own Richard Schneiderman will be the contest chair. He's putting the competition together. Did you want to stand up and share some notes about what's needed?
The only thing I'd really like to add is let's support all of our, the area contest winners. So there are 6 or 7 different clubs, and you'll be competing. A person from our club, 2 people from our club will be competing in that competition. It's a lot of fun. I went last year for the humorous speech contest, and it was tremendous. It was really tremendous. It's Tuesday night. It's right around the corner from here. Please come. There are probably some positions that could be filled at the time of the competition. For example, there probably need to be timers and counters and stuff like that. But just come. It's a great time. You know, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours. You get dinner out of it. It'll cost you $6 or $9. If you sign up now, it'll cost you $6. If you sign up at the door, it'll cost you $9. But it's a good way to see the type of things that Toastmasters is doing and rub elbows with some people from some other clubs. So please, join us.
Absolutely. I wanted to add, from our club, Anjana's a judge, and I volunteered to Toastmaster both competitions because they needed people. And it is a great way to meet people from other companies who are also involved in Toastmasters, so a great networking piece. And then just seeing at a higher level how competition is run and what the contestants look like. And if you are interested, I believe Anjana put it on everybody's calendar, so it should be there. There's a link. You should sign up ahead of time so they have a head count for food. And then you just pay at the door. So a really great way to support our local club and the organization. And are there any other announcements?
I would like to add, if anybody has ideas, so interested to work on the club newsletter, please get in touch with me. I have some ideas, I have put together some thoughts, but I would like to hear from you guys more.
And then finally, one last plug for the Competent Leadership book. This is the other book we all should be working towards. And in the back, there's a list of different rules you're asked to fulfill throughout this book. And once you finish it, you can actually submit it to Toastmasters International, and then you actually get this title after your name. The reason I'm promoting this is because we all have fulfilled roles that you'll get credit towards here. And then it's a good way of seeing what you need to fulfill and then ask to be scheduled to fill that role. And the more people we get completing this, as well as their speech, the competent speech manual, will actually get more points to being a distinguished club in this area. And that's my goal for this spring. So if you have any questions, feel free to come talk to me, or Ritesh, or Richard, or Anjana. We can all help answer questions. So if that's it, and no other announcements, I'll say the meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.